Because you could go somewhere and maybe it's a club you regularly attend, or it's a hotel you regularly go to. Then this one day you show up with this person who's dressed as if they're supposed to be at Florida, not where you're supposed to be. So you just tell them, this is a no-no for here. But you know, if you say, you're looking really nice for the sake of the first date, the next day they'll come in something worse. Yeah, and for you, that's discomfort, pure and simple. And so you have to find a way of, passing on that message. And believe you me, people are very receptive during the first dates. Very, very receptive. The minute I make a comment, they'll take note of it. But if you start making that comment a year later, they're like, why are you like that?
Yeah, why are you saying this now? Yeah. Caro, is there a difference between controlling and manipulative? Is that one and the same thing?
Well, almost one and the same thing. Because when you're manipulating someone, what do you seek? To control them, to control their friends, how they spend their money, who they see, what they do, where they work. So in a sense, you may use hints or passive behavior just to try and get your way around, to make sure that you're the one who has the power in the relationship. And a relationship isn't about power. It's not about one-upmanship, who is right and who is wrong. It's
but a lot are.
I know, yeah, that's why they're toxic. It's meant to be mutual agreement, you make mutual decision making. And like following up even on what Ken said, like about the first date, start as you mean to go on. If you accept something the very first time you meet someone, how will they know? Because you expect, like as women, many of the times we think it's okay when I get married to them, or they'll change this. Why will they change it? They don't even know that there's a problem with it, As Ken said, you didn't mention it. You acted like it was okay.
But it might sound a bit forward if you mention some things on the first date, because the reaction might be, who do you think you are?
But the thing is, you don't have to be with that person. You see, a relationship is meant to be like a friendship. Are you friends with everyone in the world just for the sake of being friends?
Of course not.
Exactly. There are things that make you compatible, right? So if you know that this is a no-go area for me, why try to make it work for you when eventually it will end in tears? But mentioning it just makes sure, if, for example, I mention it to Chris and he says, I can't change that, then I know we can't go on. If it's not something I can live with and he can't change it.
I mean, a really good litmus test for me is that, like she says, start as you mean to go on. So you meet for the very first time and you start talking. And you start telling the truth. Simple things. You don't tell everything, but you tell the truth. Now, if you suddenly discover that they're trying to manipulate that truth, they're giving you a hard time with what you say, very bad sign. If you get the sensation that they are not telling you the truth, or they're editing it and they're not telling you certain things, instant bad sign. If the relationship starts off on the basis of openness and truth, and you are learning things that make you say, that's nice, I like that, then you're going to have a successful, at least, friendship. But if you get the sense that actually you're only seeing a small portion of them, or that they are already beginning to edit what you say to them, then it's a very bad sign.
Okay. And Caro, how does one now ensure, or what is it that keeps people in toxic relationships? Because you'll find there are people who constantly will even tell you, I cannot stand this guy, but they never seem to move on.
You're always getting something out of it. There are always some hidden perks, even in a toxic relationship. For example, if this is the one person who knows how to manipulate you, because when you're about to walk out the door, he'll take you on a dream holiday, then you may stay with him. There's appearances because of society, right? You want to be Mrs. So-and-so, so it's easier to stay in that relationship because you got married to him, you didn't want to turn 30 before you got married. So now you have to stick with it. You were told by your parents and by everyone else, you make your bed, you lie in it. So you stick with it because you think this is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to keep to this. Or this is the person who props you up. Yes. Even though they treat you badly, they prop you up. This is the only person who gives you compliments, on how you look or what you're doing. So you think, it's okay, it's likely to change. Maybe it's just me, there's something wrong with me. And bottom line, if all you've known, even from your childhood, is dysfunctional relationships, maybe you've grown up with dysfunctional parents, then that's all you know. You don't know anything else. So you think that what you're going through, the relationship you have, is actually normal. Yeah, you don't even know that this is toxic or wrong.
There's another important facet too. Everybody thinks that leaving a relationship is an event, a decision, an act. It's not, it's a process. And if you don't start that process, you can't leave. So, for example, you return home from A&E and you're swearing to everybody that you'll have left home by tomorrow, and you might even leave, but you'll be back the day after because you've not gone through the process. When you step outside the relationship, suddenly all the things she's talking about are not there anymore, and it's a desert. You're alone, you're empty, so you go back. If you want to leave a relationship, it takes weeks or months to think through all the steps along the way.
Scenarios.
And as you do that, gradually you're able to leave. And if you don't start that process, you never leave.